Hello, YouTube. Speaking on carnism, the act of uh, being a meat eater, I think that it's the case that this practice uh, is something akin to a computer virus or broken software on the brain. It's something that's deeply ingrained in most of humanity and yet is vastly damaging to the organism of consciousness. And uh, on some level, it's very much this uh, just bad uh, habit, and that we keep carrying forward. In time, we must see the the end of it, but what I'd like to see is a reframing of the lens in some way. I mean, we should look at uh, the not the people, but this sort of act as verminous. This mentality, it's a computer virus. It's verminous. It's something to be removed from humanity in the same way because it's harming the organism. It's exploiting and harming the organism of consciousness. Uh, and so, you know, on some level, we must be among meat eating people, and um, it's okay. But I also think that there should be a uh, refuge. I guess there should be a temple, some kind of sanctuary, uh, whatever you uh, whatever you think the spirit of what I'm saying is. Some some uh, I think sanctuary is the best word for vegans to compile uh, not only the community sense, but also means of compiling even wealth and power. And so, in other words, uh, the vegan community should come together not merely to overcome the weakness of being a meat eater and also to uh, join in uh, grassroots activism, but also vegans should come together in every sense. The the collective effort shouldn't be limited to activism and abstinence. There should be uh, some. Uh, it can. It should encompass everything from religion to economics to politics. It should be a fully developed culture. Uh, the long term goal will be a the long term goal should be a something apart, something sacred or holy. In exactly the same way, you can imagine for example, the Catholic Church. Okay, so veganism should become at least as powerful as the the uh, greatest militaries uh, in the world, um, at least as powerful as the meat, eggs, and dairy industry, at least as powerful as the Catholic Church. Veganism, the spirit of veganism, because it has the concern of well-being and life of all organisms. This more or less the spirit should supersede every previous uh, embodiment of human advancement or uh, culture. Really, it should just supersede culture. It should supersede everything, uh, and become the number the number one spirit of our our forward momentum. Uh, Veganism winning is the transcendence of uh, everything wrong with people who normally have a winning mindset. So, um, in another way, people who are only concerned with winning, they throw. These are people who can throw ethics and morals out and literally cause the worst events in human history. But if if veganism is the winning uh, paradigm, then that's transcended because veganism ultimately is the final the spirit of veganism is the final transformation of ethics. There might be further developments, but when staring at the concern for all organisms, the well-being and happiness and life of every organism, then you can you can know you can get a no greater ethic from this. There isn't really uh, anything that's past that as far as ethics or morals go, and so until it wins, we're we're at a deficit of ethics. We're at a deficit of morals. We're in the um, we're in the red, so to speak. I think it's red is that business term. Um, so yeah, I think that sort of framing the lens as um, this meat eating program a verminous computer virus that's infecting the minds of people, um, and and that and in some way, I mean, these are regular people. They're just like us, except the psychopaths. But most of them are just regular people who are brainwashed, who have this verminous. Um, I mean, I think a good analogy is to think about them is that um, they're somewhat rabid. I mean, we're looking at a sick population. They're just rabid people, and um, we are basically healers of this disease. We are um, the the doctors are sort of arising from this sickness. We're looking around and seeing we can we can help, we can fix this sickness, this organismal destructive sickness, this uh, desire to destroy uh, and harm. And there's something to be said about, uh, well, long term, long term, we can talk about uh, balance in nature and such. But before we decide what to do with people and organisms as they flourish, we have to get that under control. Uh, we must have control of those choices because as it stands, there's um, rampant harm and suffering doled out unfairly, uh, at not even at random, but by design, and so that's a problem to correct. But I think making something apart, something sacred, holy, something apart, um, something somewhat of a refuge, a sanctuary, uh, where where we're um, compiling uh, resources, so to speak. I would say resources, yeah. A cache or a bank of some something like this for vegans to build together. Um, that would be in our interest, I think, something like this. So uh, I'm not sure exactly what that might look like at the moment, but I've got my mind I've got my mind in that direction. Um, I guess what I'm advocating for is kind of where we are offering uh, some uh, some sense of privilege to those who go vegan. Now, when you go vegan, you are winning to begin with, uh, and those benefits are obvious. But I think that there should be a social aspect to it. I think we should be offering benefits to people who are choosing to be vegan, and um, and making that very public and common and open, uh, very much in the same way that any religious community will offer special benefits to each other uh, um, uh, for being in that religion. And I know that they always love to paint vegans as religious and religious lunatics, basically, but I don't think that that's bad. I think that that's something that we should try to embrace. Uh, I mean, literally, if you go reading the Torah, what Jews say about each other, and they've arbitrarily chosen, who's a Jew or whatever, and you can convert, and it just has to do. I mean, these people, Jews are barbarians compared to vegans. These people still they won't eat shellfish or pigs, but they'll eat every other animal. It's completely barbaric, and they look at everyone who's not a Jew as um, you can keep them as a slave indefinitely. You can just you they're always worth less than a Jew, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And I think that vegans should not necessarily copy that model, and certainly not treat non-vegans unfairly or badly, but we should look to other vegans as, these are genuinely people who need help. I mean, uh, vegans, being a vegan is getting easier, but we face constant derision and hate, um, we're always trying to get our diets more optimal. Uh, there's We're not particularly welcomed in every community. Sometimes just hated in communities. Uh, there's a lot of reasons why uh, veganism should vegans should get special kinds of support. And so I just want to float that idea. And if you're vegan, and you know a vegan, uh, you know, I would recommend that you try not to dig into them as a person, for one. So, um, if you know a vegan, maybe don't talk about religion or politics with them. That might be a start. Um, Another thing is, uh, if you know a vegan and they need a favor, just do it for them. Just go and do favors for other vegans. And Because we want to promote these people. If they're vegans, promote them, make them go further than others. And obviously, don't if someone says they're a vegan, don't just believe them. Hang out with them, watch what they eat, see how they behave, see what they say, how they talk. Are they a psychopath? Yes or no? Um, because the reason I mention that is because veganism attracts psychopaths, because psychopaths are anti-vegan by their nature. They absolutely hate veganism, and it's because they're sadistic, cruel, malevolent, anti-consciousness monsters, and that's the direct opposition to the vegan spirit. So, um, if you if you're meeting with vegans, treat them a little extra, um, because we do want people. We want people to convert, to see those benefits, and we want vegans to enjoy special benefits, because uh, it's a more because they're more compassionate. There's no other reason, because they have a greater level of compassion. Uh, and in this world, uh, it's it's what we need. We need a deeper level of compassion, a better sense of justice. We need to promote that. It's going to make our world better in the long run, and that's exactly what veganism is. It's the promotion of justice and compassion, and anyone promoting such a thing should get promoted themselves. Uh, and you know, just give these people better positions. Give vegans better positions, uh, because they do need the help. I mean, vegans, it's a rough world out here for vegans. So yeah, just think about that.